Hello again, lovelies. Welcome back, all you yarny peeps and non-yarny peepers. Oh, this is my vape. All right, so I'm still outside. The sun's going down, and I had this fatter, well, maybe not fatter, but has almost 200 yards of cotton, and I'm going to do one more of these, but I'm not going to put it with the other video. My gosh, I was like, the way I was talking in the other video was so lethargic. I'm going to try to do a little bit more of the dye on here instead of just speckly speckle. Oh, here comes my Oscar cat. He might hop up here, maybe not. He's the big black one, big old fur ball. We found him, we rescued him out of a dumpster behind a restaurant in Hornell. And he was only, geez, a couple days old. He was, well, maybe he was a little more. He was probably about a couple weeks old, I should say. And really still has some feral tendencies, which is funny. And he used to, when we first rescued him, my cats eat on one of the counters because my dog will eat their food if I don't have it up. So they have their own counter, so it's connected to the sink and everything. And then, the people counter, which I bleach a lot because sometimes they walk on that. But I was having my coffee one of the first mornings with him, or by myself. He was having him, duh. And he jumped up and started drinking my coffee out of my cup, which I thought was very interesting for a cat. And then it dawned on me that he was literally eating out of a restaurant dumpster. So he had already acquired a taste for coffee, all the coffee grinds. Yeah, I'm going to make this one a little bit more saturated with the colors instead of more speckly. This will be more saturated, hopefully, anyway. I'm feeling pretty confident that this dye will be brighter. Well, it works for Rebecca, so I'm hoping it'll work for me. But this is really fun. I might tag this as an ASMR video because of the banging of this, and once in a while the chimes are going. I love wind chimes. I would like to have them hanging all around my house. Just wiggle some of that in behind the ties. I don't know how long this stuff lasts. Ooh, not much left of that. I don't know how long, some dyes only you can have for a period of time and then they lose it. Slide that over. Put a little lullo. Some yellow. This is the fun part about doing it. Rinsing it out and soaping it and rinsing it and soaping it and rinsing it and soaping it. That's kind of a pain in the butt. But it is nice. Then I have a traveling clothes rack that I use for vending. When we do, Rusty and I do vending, we'll bring the clothes rack and hang up our wearables or whatever that we have that we're selling that day. And I will hang that outside and then wrap the wet hanks on it. And that, this way they dry. I'm getting some orange in there, but that's okay. I'm not getting an even amount of dye usage from the containers. Seems like I have a lot of purple left, yet I feel like I put a lot of purple in the other dye, other hank. All right, some greens, verde in French. And you might hear a bark from little Scruffy. She's a Morkie. She's Maltese and Yorkshire Terrier. And we rescued her from Pennsylvania, from a breeder. I say that in a nice way. She, I guess, had some kind of infection, uterine infection, and wasn't able to have babies. So she was useless to them. So Rusty and I drove, it was about, I don't know how many hours away, and bought her off of the person. Because in the picture that they had of her, my gosh, she looked like an alien dog. It's horrible with the haircut. She doesn't like getting her haircut. I did just cut it a little bit for her, but she's not a big fan of the groomer. So we just kind of do it here. We don't care what she looks like, as long as she smells okay. The smell of wet dog is not my favorite smell. Wet, dirty dog. And then we have the oldest one in the house is Dr. Duncan Porkenstein, which I think you've seen in videos. He's border collie. We had his DNA done, tested. He's also a shelter animal rescue. All of our animals are rescues. He's border collie, Australian shepherd, beagle, and there was a question mark, but I'm sure that that question mark on his DNA test was Jack Russell, because he has Lyme disease from the age of 3, and he's 13 years old, and he still has the craziness of a Yorkie Terrier, of a Jack Russell. So he's the oldest in our house. Our actual oldest rescue animal that's still alive, several have passed. My baby cat passed, and I think I need a little more blue here. Baby cat had passed away. We rescued her in North Carolina. And we used to have a cockatiel that we rescued in the state of Virginia. And then we have Hot Rod, who we rescued. He was found by a dumpster in a grocery store that Rusty and I were shopping. And the kid who worked there was bringing the garbage out and came walking back in with a little part of a cardboard box, and he was walking through the store holding it, and like, oh, curious, what's in there? He goes, oh, it's a little kitten. And his little Hot Rod's eyes were still shut and his ears were still closed, so he was literally hours old. And I think the mom was probably transporting the litter, which they do, and they pick up one cat, carry it to where it's going to go, and come back and get the other one. So I think Hot Rod was either one of the last ones to be picked up or one of the first ones to go. And then, of course, once we grabbed him, you can't bring him back, obviously. But he's still alive. He's a big old fatty Bumalati. He's adorable. He's just like a dark colored tabby. And he moved out after, because I've been fostering cats. I think you guys know that. I've been fostering kittens for a lot of years. So there's a lot of cats that come and go, babies, and they find homes and move on. And Hot Rod just was getting tired of it. And when I brought the dog home, the Morkie, Scruffy, when I brought Scruffy home, she loves cats. She loves to clean cats' ears, and Hot Rod was not going to have anything to do with that. So he literally moved into my neighbor's. And my neighbor, the vet, we had to transfer all the information. Oh, that came out really pretty. Yeah, so that's Hot Rod, and he's probably about 15 years old. And then we had, excuse my language, Shitty Kitty, who I fostered and had a bowel issue, and that's why he was named that. And he unfortunately had gotten attacked and killed by a wild animal, but he did live here with us for almost 3 years and had a pretty darn good life, considering. If he was still in the shelter, no one would have paid any attention to him because of his issue. and he had no tail. He looked like a Manx, but I don't think it was a Manx tail. I think it was a birth defect, because nobody else in his litter had no tail. So we had him, and then we have Oscar. And Oscar is a long-haired black cat. And then there's Moo Radley, who I fostered and was very, very sick. He looks like a cow. He's white and with black spots. Suffers from severe anxiety and an upper respiratory illness, so he sneezes at you a lot, snots on you, as we like to say it. And then the latest one we have now here is Freya, who is part Bengal, and I know you've seen videos of her. Freya found Rusty the night before Thanksgiving. Somebody dumped the cat, so she's here. So yeah, we have a house full of animals. Usually there's more animals than this. You know, I think I have 5 animals that live in my house right now. But you know, I haven't been. I was going to foster newbie kittens again this year. I have like numerous cages of all different sizes, and climbing cages and newborn cages. What is my yarn room right now? My supply room, where you had probably seen pictures of. I'll put this here. We'll see if something to see. That room was my foster room, which I had stuff on the floor, and I had, you know, I took, other than just orphaned newborn kittens, I also took mothers with their newborn kittens. Some of those mothers were feral cats that they would trap the litter and then trap the mother. And so I had that room set up with specific cages that had just minimal holes in the sides, so that the mother could be in there with the babies and feel safe, and then had toys and such, because of course you have to socialize with the kittens at a young age. But if it's a feral mother, if you've ever had any contact with feral cats, they're not very trusting to people, and I don't blame them. They don't really like you to be touching them. They're not used to it. They're not used to people. So that would be that room. That room was for, you know, groups, whole litters of cats, but primarily for the feral moms to feel safe, and did that a few times. But yeah, I wished I had this channel back when I fostered. My Lord, I can't even, there's, I don't know, my daughter asked me one time, how many cats you think you fostered? And I probably, it's in the hundreds of cats that I've had, from like little tiny newbie babies. And then some of them I would keep for a few months, which is kind of tough to find them. You know, not finding them homes, it wasn't tough, because very fortunate that every one of them went to a potentially good home, but seemingly good home. But the giving, you know, having them so little and watching them grow, and I just adore kittens, and then finding them homes. It's a little sad sometimes when when they're not a part of your life anymore and they're a part of somebody else's life. But if I kept them all, I wouldn't be able to adopt more or foster more if I adopted them all. So now I'm down to 3 cats, but I'm getting older, so I don't want to. If I do take any more cats, I probably would be geriatric. I would probably take cats in that their caregiver, their human, maybe died and was an old cat, and they just sit in the shelter, which is heart-wrenching to me, because they, you know, here they've been lap cats and loved cats for all their lives, and now they grieve. Animals grieve, not unlike humans do. I've seen it, and now they're grieving the loss of their human, and in a little box in a shelter. So if you have the heart and a room in your house for some geriatric cats, you know, a lot of them have teeth issues and whatnot, you know, consider that. They're great lap cats, and that's part of our charity too, is, you know, the elderly, animals. Having animals around you is extremely therapeutic. Anyone who has one knows that to be fact. And a lot of elderly people are on limited incomes, and having an animal as an added financial expense is a burden. So that's part of what we try to do too, is the mental health and meows is mostly cats, because they're easier to take care of. You don't have to worry about letting them out and whatnot. But helping them out financially, if it's a vet bill or food or litter or a ride to the vet or whatever it is, just a really nice way for a cat and a human to connect when maybe they wouldn't be able to otherwise. But that's my speech, and I'm sure you're very bored of my dyed, dirty hands. But hey, I love you guys. Love one another, and don't be judgmental, and adopt an animal if you can. And if you can't, hey, drop off some canned food or throw, detergent, whatever. Donate, whatever you can. It's much needed. Every single shelter out there could use help with whatever you can do, or take a couple hours out of your day and go visit the shelter and clean shitty boxes like I did every morning. Or just go love on the animals. The animals, it's a win-win there. Go play with the puppy dogs and the cats, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. And speaking of animals, mine are all surrounding me, so I guess it's dinner time. Hey, love you guys. Sorry about my rambling. So this is all of the colors, and I showed this also in the other video, but this big one here is the one that I dyed in this particular video. And it looks kind of like some of the darker colors bled into the, it wasn't pure white, it was that like off-white, ecru, whatever you call it. So it is still like a little bit ecru-y, not pure white, but it looks gorgeous, and I'm sure it'll work up beautifully. Anyway, yeah, that's the final project with the Tulip Dye. That was a bee. Yeah, the bee is landing on me. Okay, go away, buddy. I just don't want to get stung because I don't know if I'm allergic or not. Yeah, so that's the next I'm going to try, and I said in the other video, is I'm going to try the cubes that you use for dyeing Easter eggs. You add the vinegar, and I'm going to try that on a couple hanks and see how that works. This is fun. I'm really, I'm learning. Alrighty, guys, be good, be happy, be you.